To my, and
Okay,
now you can
so
answer.
why don't you take a seat, please?
Are you going to answer that?
Yes.
Okay.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for providing us with insight, providing me with information that I didn't know was occurring in terms of having someone's check information. And I'll be speaking with the appropriate division heads to ensure that we are protecting privacy. In terms of contracts, we have a brand new town attorney. Our town attorney has tremendous depth of experience as a former federal prosecutor and a tremendous experience with municipal law. And I will be giving our town attorney the directions to look at every single contract to make sure that every contract, every contractor, and every town employee is operating above board, legally and ethically. And I will point out that these contracts call for not spending above that amount. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not a spender. And we'll be taking this direction, this town, in a direction of saving money at every turn. And the specific duties, among others, of our new administrators is to ensure that we are protecting our taxpayers and our residents from expenditures that are not absolutely necessary. Thank you. Our next speaker.
Mr. Supervisor, you didn't answer the questions, though.
Well, as I instructed you in the beginning, we have a new format here in the town of Oyster Bay. Please present your questions by letter or email to my office, and I'll be working with the deputy supervisor to make sure that all residents get answers to their questions after going over what our policies are, what our town code is, and the new policies to bring about the best outcomes in our town. On the resolutions, our next speaker will be Mr. Robert Ripp of Massapequa. Happy Valentine's Day, Mr. Ripp.
Happy Valentine's Day. It's nice to meet you.
You too.
My name is Robert Ripper from Massapequa. I mentioned before I want to start out with resolution number 93. Resolution 93, this resolution has nothing to do with the hiring or the salary of Commissioner of Public Safety, Justin McCaffrey. You're going to agree to waive his obligation to report his income to the pension system. What I'd like to explain to you is that Section 150 of the Civil Service Law of the State of New York authorizes that retired public employees may not be rehired and receive pension benefits while serving the state or a political subdivision. However, Sections 211 and 212 of the Retirement and Social Security Law of the State of New York present exceptions to Section 150. Section 211 provides a waiver to the Section 212 earnings limitation of $30,000. The New York State Civil Service Commission may grant waivers under Section 211 for retired employees to be employed in positions in the classified service of municipalities. The town boards of New York State municipalities may grant waivers under Section 211 for retired employees to be employed in positions in the service of such municipality. However, certain criteria must be met in order to grant a waiver under this statute. These criteria are that the retired person is duly qualified, competent, and physically fit for the performance of the duties of the position in which he or she is to be employed and is properly certified where such certification is required, that the prospective employer has prepared a detailed recruitment plan to fill such vacancy on a permanent basis, that his or her employment is in the best interest of the government service, and that there is an urgent need for his or her services in such position as a result of an unplanned, unpredictable, and unexpected vacancy where sufficient time is not available to recruit a qualified individual, that such hiring shall be deemed as non-permanent rather than a final filling of such position, or that the prospective employer has undertaken extensive recruitment efforts to fill such vacancy, and as a result thereof has determined that there are no available non-retired persons qualified to perform the duties of such position. It is clear that the intent of the law is to restrict the circumstances in which an individual can simultaneously receive both a salary and a pension from the state of New York. This is important to avoid any appearance of impropriety. Thus is it incumbent upon the New York State municipalities to ensure that requests for Section 211 waivers are limited to those cases where no other alternative, such as a hiring of a new employee or training of an existing employee, is available. Knowledgeable retired employees are tremendous assets to any agency, and you should consider ways in which these individuals can provide their expertise and experience on a voluntarily basis. However, the legal requirements must be complied with when hiring individuals who have previously retired from government employment. In order to comply with the statutory requirements before resorting to hiring a retiree pursuant to Section 211, the prospective employer must conduct a search to determine whether there are readily available for recruitment persons qualified to perform the duties of the position. In addition, the request that is submitted to the Civil Service Commission must at a minimum describe the duties of the position to be filled, set forth the qualifications required of any individual to fill that position, describe the recruitment efforts which have been undertaken, certify that the recruitment efforts failed to locate any qualified non-retired individuals to fill the position, certify that the retiree is duly qualified, competent, and physically fit to perform the duties of the position, and explain why the employment of the retiree is in the best interest of the government service, including why the position cannot be filled through the transfer or training of existing state personnel. Under Section 211 of the Retirement and Social Security Law, such approvals may be granted for periods not exceeding 2 years each, providing that such person may not return to work in the same or similar position for a period of 1 year following retirement. Requests for such waivers should be made only rarely and should be sought only for the time period that is absolutely necessary. If a request must be made to renew the employment of any individual after the completion of the 2-year period, a new application with the necessary information must be submitted, and the prospective employer must again attest that no qualified persons are available for recruitment other than the retiree. A new search should be conducted before that assertion is made. If a retiree exceeds their earning limit under Section 212 and does not receive approval under Section 211, their pension may be reduced. In the memorandum docket that was provided today, the information that's included is applicable to Justin McCaffrey only. There is nothing included to indicate or validate that no other acceptable candidates came forward or that none could be found who were not already receiving a pension from New York State. You're relying solely on the recommendations of your town's selection committee, which has been identified as consisting of Commissioner of Parks Frank Dorsorino, Commissioner of Human Resources John Canning, and Deputy Commissioner of Human Resources Vicki Spinelli. None of them, in my opinion, have the expertise or education to take any type of recommendation regarding public safety. Commissioner Dorsorino is intimately involved in the Sing SRB scheme. To further attest to Frank Dorsorino's character, I'd like to read to you from your $100,000 ethics expert, Stephen Leventhal's January 3rd, 2017 response to my ethics complaint on Mr. Dorsorino and his unauthorized use of town property. The Board of Ethics interviewed Parks Commissioner Frank Dorsorino concerning the subject matter of your complaint and reviewed Parks Department documents, including the request by the Columbus Lodge for the use of town equipment dated January 6, 2016. The Parks Commissioner has served in the capacity for approximately 2.5 years. Previously, he served as Deputy Parks Commissioner for 4 years. During that time, it has been the consistent practice of the town to authorize the private use of Parks Department equipment through the issuance of a permit by the Parks Department rather than by a resolution of the town board, as is the practice for town equipment. All of the items used by the Columbus Lodge at the Italian Fest and Festival held on September 25, 2016 were authorized by resolution of the town board or by permit issued by the Parks Department consistent with the town's long-standing past practice. This is your problem in a nutshell right here. What Commissioner Dorsorino did with the golf carts was wrong. Mr. Dorsorino was absolved of my ethics complaint not because what he did was either ethical or unethical, or in fact violated any town rules. He was absolved because what he did has simply been happening for quite some time. Whether right or wrong, it was an established pattern and procedure, and is simply because it's recognized as an established pattern and procedure, it's tolerated in the town of Oyster Bay. Just like this 211 waiver for James McCaffrey. Why would the town board need to approve anything if the Parks Department heads can lend out town property? By issuing a simple permit, written permit. In this incident, an alleged permit that I might add has never been produced and to which the town clerk certified did not exist. In my opinion, it's also an ethics violation for Mrs. Spinelli to even be employed by the town of Oyster Bay. To add insult to injury, Mr. McCaffrey, as Commissioner of Public Safety, is directly responsible for both the continuity of government plan and the town's official succession list, which as far as I know we still do not have in place. Commissioner McCaffrey also intentionally provided me with false and misleading information in response to my Freedom of Information request regarding the town's other irreplaceable security expert, Andrew Melkenny, and also cooperated as a willing participant in the town clerk's James Altadano's failed attempt to entrap me and have me arrested on January 13, 2017. In my opinion, what's been going on here, repeatedly waiving the New York State income tax pension requirements for James McCaffrey, is both unethical and illegal. And I think that Mr. McCaffrey, as a retired member of the service, New York City Police Department, should realize that himself. The people that are being hurt here are the people that are contributing to the New York State pension system. Now, I'd like to point out to you also that the backup information that you received on this, it doesn't explain anything about any of the people that were allegedly interviewed for this position, or why Mr. McCaffrey is the only expert that has to do this. And quite frankly, this doesn't mean that Mr. McCaffrey can't be the Commissioner of Public Safety. You're entitled to make him your commissioner, but he has a responsibility to report his income and to pay his pension and pay his taxes correctly. And if his pension has to get reduced because he's making who knows how much money, that's so be it. And I'd like to point out to you also that I happen to have Mr. McCaffrey's financial disclosure statements here. In the backup material that was provided by your commission, they mentioned that he runs an outside company. I mean, there's no financial information in his financial disclosures to attest to how much money his outside company is making. I mean, what if his specialized training company is making $1 million a year? I mean, if he's making X amount of dollars there, and he's making so much here, you really have to waive his requirement to report his income on his pension? I really, you know what, I think that this is your opportunity, right here and now, to start showing what you're about, that you're not all talk, that you're action. Because if you're all action, I'll be with you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your testimony. To address these issues, once again, we have a brand new town attorney in the town of Oyster Bay, a former federal prosecutor who is also an expert in municipal law. I myself have come from Albany, where for well over a decade I've been the ranking member of the Government Employees Committee, where we have provided for pension bills for law enforcement for all municipal employees across our state. Municipal employees who have done a fine job serving the people. Municipal employees, Mr. Ripp, like you and I, who have worked in government, and you who are getting a pension,
Sure.
and I'm someone who is not getting a pension.
Someday.
But the point is that no one in the town of Oyster Bay is above reproach. And we will be looking at every single operation and process. I happen to know that 25 people were interviewed for this position. But I will still ask our town attorney to look into the matter to ensure that every employee and every process that we have in this town is done correctly and is done with ethics and a commitment to the taxpayers and the public first and foremost. Are we clear on that, Mr. Nocella?
Yes, we are.
Thank you very much.